What's up, everybody? Y'all already know who it is. Target individual CJBK. It is February 2nd, 2022. It's now 3:40 p.m. Um, well, I've been just got off work around, like 12:30. Got home around like 2. Since I posted my video of my magnetic, you know, force field, wands, my repelling force field wands, the electronic handlers, they basically, start to tweak what they do. But the more I learn about their attacks and their technology and stuff, the more they try to find new ways to try to see if they can get at me. And for the most part, I already understand that pain is a part of life, just like death is a part of life. Just like knowing that there are people in this world who are basically, they wake up every day, waiting and wanting confrontation. Some people wake up in this world just basically wanting control and power. So I basically, as they change and alter things to try to see if they can mess with me even more, I basically learned a new way to try to see if I could combat what they're doing. And I mean, as us empowered, individuals who are being harassed and everything by, covert entities and those people who literally are just basically flipped into working for them, whether they're whether they're directly, related to military or government, or they're probably some type of dark, you know, um, society type thing, you know, um, and people who are aware of, secret societies like, Illuminati, Skull and Bones, and then there are several other, groups out there as well. You already know that they're basically infiltrating almost every section or facet of, where we live in, throughout the world. But for the most part, it's always in our types of societies, these like developed countries, these, you know, these countries that basically have armies and whatnot. You know, there's always like a secret government within a government, you know. But golly, it's like a piece that just won't come. It's like sitting right at my throat, but it won't come up. Oh wait, there we go. Okay, so this video is not necessarily going to be about. It's not necessarily going to be about shielding or how to protect yourself from directed energy or frequencies. It's not really even going to be about it's not going to be about anything of that sort. This video is mostly going to be just about moral compass and just like everything that's supposed to be right about the world and humanity, right? When I first started to research, like after I calmed myself down, when I was, introduced to electronic harassment. I didn't know I was being targeted, in a sense. But my perp said you weren't supposed to be a target, you were supposed to be target practice. That's why they were basically offering me the opportunity to join the police force So then I guess, they can be able to control me if I was working within the precinct or something. They can control me to make sure, I guess some people who are, probably about to get locked up or are locked up, I can mess with evidence or whatever the case may be, whatever. Um, Either that or because they're remote neural monitoring me, they have my optic nerve, hacked or whatever. So if I was to be a part of an investigation or had to go to meetings or whatever like that, I would be they would be able to see what I see and hear what I hear, you know but what's funny, just to jump off track for a second. I was at the corner store today. Now, it's just interesting enough that she said these exact words, right? So I was at the store, and in my peripheral vision to the right, I see this woman. She's about to come down the aisle, right? And I'm standing there and I'm looking at the fridge, and I hear her kind of laugh, like, huh. And then she starts to, I mean, she had earplugs in, so she might have been on the phone, but I don't know. Um, you know, that's why you never really approach anyone, because then it'll make you seem like, you know, it'll make you seem like the aggressor or the antagonist, right? But me personally, living in the environment and in the neighborhood I live in, you don't say these types of things out loud, especially in a phone conversation and when you're walking around outside. So this woman, she's as she gets closer to me, she says, "Huh, you better chill. You think when you go to jail, somebody gonna help you? You gonna be mistaken. Ain't nobody gonna help you in jail." And then she's like saying that as she walks past, and then she comes back. She was like, "Ain't nobody gonna help you in jail." And then she like walks by, you know. And I started doing this thing where, you know, it's kind of weird, right? So I started doing this thing where like every time I notice there's a gang stop all around, I always do this. And that's like my sign for knowing I'm always surrounded. There's always someone nearby. Anytime there's street theater, anytime that even if they don't say anything to me, because like I told you, a lot of times, sorry, I had to go and deal with something with my mother. But anyway, um, yeah. So, um, I don't forgot where I was at. Because I came back, um, you know, the electronic handler through the synthetic telepathy. He's like, he had no idea what a secret society would do, or something like that. They always say that he has no idea, you know. But anyway, so yeah, yeah. I found that interesting that she said, "Oh, right, yeah, that part." So yeah, I know I'm always surrounded. Plus, it's New York City. You can only go but so many places and not find a perk near you. You can only go but so many places. And then especially if you know anything about body area network and brain cloud interface, um, yeah, there's always going to be somebody nearby. And then plus, a lot of people don't realize, we basically live under a dome um, of basically ionized um, particles and stuff. So, and then the fact that there's a Wi-Fi area and cell towers everywhere. That's one of the main ways that these perps can basically bounce around off of things. Whether it's a car that has Bluetooth, because there were times where like a I was walking past a particular car, and then the the sound of the telepathy changed to something that had a little bit more bass, but it only happened when I walked past a car. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. But so okay, I've never been a snitch a day in my life. Most of the time, I mind my business. Most of the time, I don't do nothing real about it. I don't get myself involved in anything that I can't get myself out of. I don't I don't pay no attention to what everybody else is doing, and um I don't bother nobody. I always kind of figure if you don't bother me, I don't bother you. If I won't bother you, and you won't bother me. Simple as that. You know. But the one thing I cannot take is a bully. That's basically what this is. This is bullying. This is a form of like bullying, extortion, and coercion. You know. Um and then on top of that, it's not like it's people that like, when someone walks up to you and they try to do something to you, you at least have a chance to fight back. You at least have a chance to fight back. But with this, it's in a sense where someone can attack you remotely. They can read into they can basically extract, view, and even share your thoughts remotely. Then um, they can basically um, coordinate with other people around you who probably, either just went along with it because they thought they can benefit from the system, or someone who basically got coerced into, going along with the system because, you know, it's you know, it's just safer to just go along with it, right? You know, but I cannot stand bullies, and I hate bullies with a passion. Because a bully is primarily just someone who, has so much fear in their life that, they can only resort to things that are of like low vibrational emotions or violence or things of that sort to get what they want. Somebody who basically, hates not getting their way, so they try to use all forms and ways of intimidation to get what they want. And this system is basically like human trafficking, right? It's human trafficking. The three main things that they do to you is they either harass you to a point that you eventually die from, you know, the radiation or the frequency attacks on your heart or your immune system or your mind, things of that sort. Or they end up finding ways to set you up so you go to prison or jail, and then probably more than likely you might end up dying in there, because they already spread around, you know prisons, or in the streets, or wherever the case, that you snitched on them about the technology. Or what's the other one? Or they find a way to actually like convince you to believe that your life is going to be such a living hell that you'll just kill yourself, right? Now, me, um, to be honest, like, growing up, I've always had to deal with um, rejection in a sense from a majority, or the popular, you know, the popular, entities or whatever. I mean, this we talking about like growing up in school and being a teenager, things of that sort. So there's been times, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I've actually attempted suicide before, a couple times actually, and you know, for 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 God for God's sake, I actually was unsuccessful. Or I had a really good friend who just happened to kind of like come in and just make sure that I wasn't successful. So I'm just like, by the strength of God and by the will of God, I had a purpose to fulfill before I left this earth. And um, I'm not. like that. And that's one thing that I realized. I'm like, I'm not, they're not going to put fear in my heart, because I grew up around all this violence. I grew up, um almost hating myself to a point where I wanted to take my life. So it's like, everything that they're doing, I've already been there. That's why they're so unsuccessful with everything they do against me. They're now, their main focus is saying, "Oh, we have a setup coming for you. We're gonna put you in jail. We're gonna put you in prison." And I'm just like, well, if that's the case, then that's just another experience that I just may have to go through in life. And even in the Bible, it states that, when you are chosen of God to be wrongfully persecuted by the world, it says, I forgot exactly where, but it says, if you was of the world would love you. But because you are of the world and God has chosen you from the world will hate you. So, and anybody who ever met me and who knows me knows I've never been anyone who does anything wrong to anyone. And more than likely, I'll probably depending on what it is, I'll probably do something illegal with you. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna lie. You know? But to snitch on anybody, I've never done that before. I've never done that before. But this right here, this there's something absolutely wrong with this. Now, over the last 16 months, I've been putting out so much information about this technology. And, a lot of people, you got to realize that, this technology, it's been around for decades. And then the intentions behind the use of the technology, um, some of it was actually meant for good, to help people who are disabled or who are suffering from, psychological illnesses, to help the elderly, things of that sort. But there is a flip side to everything that man ever creates. God don't make mistakes when he creates something, but, you know, um, everything that man creates, it always has a flip side. It always has a flip side. If it was made to be something good, trust and believe there is someone out in this world that's willing to use it for some nefarious way. You know. But I just gotta say that um I I can't see myself stopping what I'm doing. I can't see myself stopping what I'm doing. And all my friends who think all my friends and family who think I'm crazy, or they believe that I'm a snitch, I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you, because you not know what you do. And at the same time, God tells us not to worry about death. If you are doing what is right in this world, do not fear death in itself, because if they basically kill you, then there's nothing more they can do. But if all they're going to do is just beat you up or torture you and stuff, but you still survive, and you maintain your mental state, and you maintain that spiritual connection with God, if you don't die, then you're only going to get stronger, because it's an experience. In time, your wounds will heal. So, um, what else? Um, then something else. Right. Back to what I was originally about to talk about. So when I first learned that I was being targeted and stuff, I did a lot of research, especially looked up on YouTube for people's testimonials. And this is what really got me wanting to go so hard. You can go on YouTube, type in targeted individual parents, or, targeted individual children, or elderly, anything of that sort. There are testimonies, there are testimonies of parents who talk about how their children will wake up in the middle of the night and they're basically like screaming out for their parents. And this kind of almost made me cry a little bit. The child would say that they felt like someone did something to them or someone touched them. And like I said, this technology, it's not that secretive. It's really not. There are tech there are tech magazines that's already talking about sensory like devices um that can basically um allow you to feel or touch things that aren't actually physically there. And um like I'm saying, you can look this stuff up. There are there are parents who are being targeted, and then their children would be targeted. And then next thing you know, the parents are doing testimonials online where, the children are explaining what happened to them while they were, in their bed trying to sleep. It felt like someone was touching them or someone hurt them in a way, but there's no one there. And then there are women who basically um, talk about how, especially when they're asleep, because they mostly can do a lot of um, have a lot of effect on you through lucid dreaming or dream manipulation, right? Because when you actually enter into a certain state of sleep, you basically you're not necessarily fully asleep, but your brainwave activity is a little bit more is like a little bit more relaxed. So then once your mind is a bit more relaxed and you're not necessarily defending yourself from outside stimulations and stuff, your brain is just trying to relax and go to sleep. Those are usually the most opportune times that they attack you and extract information or data from your brain, memories, things of that sort. Um, and that's the part that got me the most is when I started to listen to those stories about how you got, especially single parents and single parents and mothers are usually always the ones that's attacked the most because they're pretty much like easy targets. I've gotten to know this one TI who lives in Ohio, and she has 3 children, and she lives alone. She's beautiful and very strong, powerful woman. But at the same time, when she talks about the things that these gang stalking secret society members are doing, they do things like break into her home, and they do things to her food, and they destroy her children's clothes and things of that sort. And you know, it's amazing to me. And I'm like I already know that there's probably people who are basically um associates with this whole gang stalking secret society, and they basically are just doing what they're just doing this to avoid being harassed. If you don't want to believe the words coming out of my mouth, you have you have a smartphone, you have the internet, you have a computer. All you gotta do is just go on YouTube or just look up targeted individual parents, targeted individual elderly people. Look up what they do to people with this technology. That's all you gotta do. Don't believe the words that are coming out of my mouth. Look it up yourself. I can't, and I'm getting chills right now as I'm talking about this. That's how I know God is with me right now. I'm telling you, you are a part of something that is so dark and so deeply rooted in like some Luciferian cult like manipulating divisive thing. And then think about it. The United States of America is no stranger. The history of the US government and scientific research, it's not a secret that, there's always research experiments being done on the citizens. But when you think about it today, in a sense, there are ways that they can use like third party entities or third party contracting to train other people to do the research work for them, so then the government can't necessarily be blamed for it. 1996, Bill Clinton did a press conference where he literally apologized for the radiation experiments that were done on U.S. citizens during the Cold War, and that was by the government who did it to its own citizens. And then, there are a number of different experiments that the government is purely behind, all for scientific research on U.S. citizens. And it would not blow my mind at all to realize all of these handlers who's getting their money, it's all coming from the government. It would not surprise me at all. And then they trickle that money down to people who do the on-hand work for them, right? Because the handlers don't necessarily want to get their hands dirty per se. So what they'll do, they'll trickle down money, or they'll try to see if they can, work people into getting certain jobs and whatnot, so then they can have people on the inside to do whatever, things that they want. And then when you think about the dynamics of a secret society, it's some greedy ass shit. It's really greedy, and then it's funny because the person be like, he's selfish, and I'm like, coming from people that joined a secret society so they can hoard resources to themselves, who's selfish? But yeah, so I realized I wanted to go hard because knowing my life is at risk, my family's life is at risk, I have the Spirit of God flowing through me so strong. And it always cracks me up because they're like, he's peaceful about snitching. And I'm just thinking to myself, I wonder if these people realize if he's capable of just peeking into anybody's mind, reading and extracting their memories, uploading it, sharing it with other people, you might not be getting harassed, but it doesn't mean they're not going into your mind and you don't know that they're doing it. And I just think about it and I'm just like, so everyone is just okay with it. And then here's the part that gets me the most. They keep telling me, oh, the streets is watching you now. The streets is following you. The streets is basically, the streets don't want you to know about technology. You're not supposed to know about technology. Da, da, da. And I'm thinking to myself, like, how is it possible that the streets is okay with knowing someone can actually see their memories? So I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, you telling me the streets, with everything that happens in the streets, is okay with someone actually having the ability to go into their mind, see exactly what they see, take that memory, upload it to a computer, and then they can share that memory with whoever they want. And then I think to myself, you ever wonder how a lot of people get arrested and then, they talk about, oh, it was an anonymous tip. You don't think that at some given point or time, they would probably, like, if someone pays that handler enough money, he would probably throw you under the bus. No questions asked. Give him enough money, he'll take whatever memory that you have. If you killed somebody, they'll take that and they'll literally, and if it, oh my goodness, it gets even deeper because it's your memory. It's your memory. So if you try to hide anything or get rid of evidence, they know exactly from the details of every single thing that you actually did. And then they can share that shit with whoever. And then I'm thinking to myself, they're like, oh, the streets is watching, the streets is watching. I'm 16 months into this now. If the streets was watching me, they would have killed me a long time ago. They would have killed me a long time. People getting shot in broad daylight. They would have killed me a long time ago. Ain't no damn traffic out there. You know that's Gangstalking. But if the streets was after me, they would have killed me a long time ago. A long time ago. And plus, I leave my house. I leave my house in the middle of the night just so I could get to work. And I don't even walk down places where there's like cameras and stuff like that. I literally walk this earth lightly. I walk this earth lightly, and I walk with no fear. I acknowledge fear. Fear is a very real emotion. But at the same time, any military personnel, any soldier would tell you, it's okay to feel scared, but it's how you react to it. You cannot let it freeze you up. You cannot let it hold you back. So basically what I'm telling all of you empowered individuals is, remember, you were chosen for this because you have something very, very important about your DNA. There's something about your spirit that that God just basically wanted to test and see if you would maintain your composure even when you're facing, you know, an uphill battle or facing adversity that completely overwhelms and overshadows your physical existence here on this earth. And I'm just thinking to myself, good people die all the time. Good people die all the time. Bad people die all the time. Death comes for everybody. But you can't think about it. You can't let it freeze you up. You can't let it basically you can't let it hold you. You have to just go ahead and live your life, and don't ever back down to no one trying to force you to do anything that you don't want to do. Because remember, yes, leaving your family behind and leaving the earth may sound, you know, extremely scary, may sound like terrifying. It even sounds like you're missing out on a lot of things. But you also got to remember, you have a light body, energy, spirit that's trapped in your flesh. There is a true self that is trapped in your flesh. And the only way you can really experience your true self is when you leave your body. But you're not going to be able to see your true self if you're still in your body. So it's like, when you think about things of like, you know, enlightenment, you know, true, you know, true, you know, passion and hell, when you think about when they say the speed of light, the speed of sound, imagine energy cannot be destroyed, it's only transferred. So if you think about it, what's to say that like when we leave our flesh body, we actually can become much more powerful beings just from being released from our flesh bodies. Because remember, our flesh bodies is basically like our it's a vesicle. It's a vesicle. Or vesicle, vehicle. Yeah, it's basically like a vehicle. We're only meant to be on earth to do one thing. And it's basically to see where we may go after we leave our flesh body. This is why there's so many different spiritual messengers that have come before us to warn us and tell us, do right, just do right, do everything that you can to be something right about the world. Because remember, in the Bible, God basically destroyed humanity at one point, because humanity basically wasn't, it was it was a lot of people not doing right. So God was just like, all right, and just took a lot of people out. You know, so it's just like, you gotta remember, you have a duty not just to the people that you live around, the people that you love and care about. You have a duty to yourself to make sure you are doing right in this world. You can't let man or woman put fear in your heart, because fear, God does not want you to fear nobody and nothing but God. So, I mean, I get it. They're gonna come after my entire family. They're gonna come after. They basically have proven they're not gonna come after me as hard as they should. They're going to try to come after everybody around me. So I just think to myself, you know what? God said before He makes His move among the world, He will separate. He will remove people from your life who never really was able to, who would not necessarily fit the purpose that you were supposed to live in this world. Pay attention to all the people that no longer keeps in contact with you. Those are the people that God specifically moved out of your life. And it's for a reason. And I'm going to end it right there. I'm going to end it right there. So, as always, take life one breath, one thought, one step, one day at a time. Peace.